VI Lenin Split or Decay? Written February-April 1916. First published in 1931 in Lenin Miscellany 17. Source: Lenin Collected Works, Unknown, 19XX, Moscow, Volume 22, pages 180 to 181. Translated, unknown transcription / markup, D. Walters. Public Domain, Lenin Internet Archive 2000. You may freely copy, distribute, display and perform this work, as well as make derivative and commercial works. Please credit Marxist's Internet Archive as your source. README. That was how Social Democrat posed the alternative with regard to the German Social Democratic Party, back in its issue number 35, when it elaborated the fundamental ideas of the Manifesto on War issued by our party's Central Committee. Notice how the facts bear out this conclusion. The German Social Democratic Party is clearly disintegrating. Otto Rühl, Karl Liebknecht's closest associate, quite apart from the ISD group, International Socialists of Germany, which has been consistently fighting the hypocritical Trotskyites, has openly come out for a split. Forwards had no serious, honest answer. There are actually two workers' parties in Germany. Even in Britain, a statement was made by T. Russell Williams in the moderate, pacifist Labour leader, the central organ of the Independent Labour Party, and he was supported by many local functionaries. Comrade Ordnatsky, who has done very good internationalist work in Britain, came out in the conciliatory Nash Slovo in Paris for an immediate split there. We are naturally in full agreement with Ordnatsky in his polemic with T. Rothstein, a correspondent of Communist, who takes a Trotskyite attitude. In France, Bourdon is a fervent opponent of any split but has proposed to the Party Congress a resolution calling for outright disapproval both of the party's Central Committee and the parliamentary group. Adoption of such a resolution would mean an immediate split in the party. In America, the Socialist Party appears to be united. Actually, some of its members, like Russell and others, preach preparedness, stand for war, and want an army and navy. Others, like Eugene Debs, the party's presidential candidate, openly preach civil war in the event of an imperialist war, rather, in connection with one. There are now actually two parties all over the world. There are in fact already two internationals. And if the Zimmerwald majority are afraid to recognize this, if they dream of unity with the social chauvinists, and declare their readiness to have such unity, these pious hopes in practice remain nothing but hopes, expressive of inconsistency and timidity of thought. Consciousness lags behind reality. Notes Volume 21, The War and Russian Social Democracy, Lenin Ibid, Dead Chauvinism and Living Socialism, Lenin. A group of German left-wing social democrats which emerged during the First World War. Its organ, Lichtstrahlen, Rays of Light, was published in Berlin from 1913 to 1921. The ISD openly opposed war and opportunism and took the most consistent stand in Germany on separation from the social chauvinists and centrists. Burchard, representing the group at the Zimmerwald Conference, alone of the 10 German delegates signed the draft resolution and draft manifesto of the Zimmerwald left. Soon after the conference, the Bureau of the Zimmerwald left was informed that the ISD group had joined it, and this was reported in Internationale Flugblatt, International Leaflets, Number 1. The group had no extensive ties with the masses and soon broke up. Decay, a magazine founded by Lenin and published by the editorial board of Social Democrat jointly with G.L. Pyatykov and E.B. Bosch, who financed it. Bukharin was one of the editors. Only one double issue was published. It carried, apart from the article The Honest Voice of a French Socialist, 2 other articles by Lenin, The Collapse of the Second International, and Imperialism and Socialism in Italy. The publication plan was worked out by Lenin in the spring of 1915. The organizational meeting of the editorial board was held under his guidance. Lenin planned to make Communist an international organ of the left-wing Social Democrats, but it soon transpired that there were grave contradictions between the editorial board and Bukharin, Pyatykov and Bosch, which were aggravated after the number 1-2 issue. The Bukharin-Pyatykov-Bosch took an incorrect stand on a number of points of principle in the party's program and tactics: the right of nations to self-determination, the role of democratic demands in the minimum program in general, etc., and tried to make use of the magazine for factional purposes. On the editorial board, Lenin fought the Bukharin-Pyatykov-Bosch group, exposed their anti-Bolshevik views and factional activities, and sharply criticized the conciliatory attitude to the group on the part of G.Y. Zinoviev and A.G. Shlyapnikov. In view of the group's anti-party attitude, the Social Democrat editorial board declared, on Lenin's proposal, that it considered it impossible to continue publication. Lenin wrote the draft resolution of the RSDLP Central Committee terminating the publication of the Communist. The Central Committee Bureau in Russia, having heard a report on the contradictions on the Communist editorial board, declared its full solidarity with the editorial board of the central organ, Social Democrat, and expressed the wish that all publications of the Central Committee should be edited on lines strictly in conformity with the Central Committee's policy and adopted before the outbreak of the war. From October 1916, the editorial board of Social Democrat began publication of Sbornik Social Demokrata. Backward-forward work